This is the inner wheel lift, an extraordinary technique popularised by Initial D that many drivers want to replicate. In this video I'm going to be telling you all you need to know about the inner wheel lift, and at the end I'll be showing you exactly how to do it. So make sure you stay tuned because you won't want to miss out on this one. So what exactly is the inner wheel lift? It essentially means floating a single inner tyre above a gutter. It's stated that wheel lifting allows the driver to take a corner at higher speeds than usual, due to more weight being shifted to the rear tyres. But, as usual, there are a group of people that deny this, and would call inner wheel lifting anime make-believe. So, let's take a look at the actual physics behind wheel lifting and make up our own minds. Wheel lifting has been around for far longer than Initial D has, and in fact we can see race cars as far back as the 1950s lifting their inner wheels, and that wasn't done by accident either. Many race cars and even some street cars are intentionally set up to lift their inside tyres. From F1 cars to trophy trucks, and even that riced out Honda Civic that blasts past your house at 3 AM every morning. So why do they do this? Surely less tyre contact with a tarmac means less grip, right? Well, not quite. In fact, lifting the front tyre can actually increase traction. Let me explain. When you corner in a car, it practically wedges itself into a corner. The weight of the car is shifted towards the outside due to G-force, and as a result, your outside tyres are putting in far more work than the insides. However, the car will want to distribute grip equally to all four tyres, and as a result, we actually waste grip on the insides simply because it isn't needed there. So that is why many racing teams across the globe want their inner wheels to be lifted, obviously depending on the car. It allows a driver to simply corner at higher speeds by sending more grip to the outside tyres, which are doing most of the work. But this does come with one downside. With only two tyres putting in 95% of the work, it's far easier to go over the limit of grip, making the car much more unstable. But any decent driver would take more grip and less stability any day of the week. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, where does the cool JDM Touge gutter technique fit into all of this? Well, let's get onto that. But first, make sure you smash that like button if you're enjoying the video so far. It goes without saying that pretty much all cars that are raced on the Touge are street cars. They don't have teams of mechanics behind them or suspension systems that cost an arm and a leg. The cars we race on the Touge have to be drivable on the day-to-day, so naturally their suspensions are relatively soft compared to the cars we were just talking about. Lifting a street suspension or even coilovers is next to impossible. So the question is, how do we lift a wheel without actually lifting a wheel? And the answer is, of course, gutters. Not only do gutters allow us to load our outside tyres with more grip, but they also allow us to do it in such a way that doesn't sacrifice too much stability. Simply because we aren't lifting our wheel mechanically. In fact, we still maintain all the characteristics of a soft suspension. We're just not letting our car deliver grip to our inside tyre. Alright, so look, I'll keep it on a level with you. I'd never actually attempted an inner wheel lift before making this video, so it's been as much of a learning process for me as it will have been for you. I've actually been mulling over making this video for a few months now, and I've spent hours attempting the inner wheel lift, and I've written down a lot of notes about it. So before I tell you how to actually do the inner wheel lift, I'm going to talk about my experience with learning it, and tell you my findings. I think that may be a better method of teaching anyway. The Touge I choose for the inner wheel lift is Nagao by Euro and Cosrin. It has massive open gutters that are perfect for this technique. When I first started attempting the inner wheel lift, I had a lot of trouble. I was actually trying to do it on a fully grip run, which is where the issue lies. I found it hard to keep enough momentum for the wheel to actually float, whilst also staying on the racing line. You need to already be near the limit of grip for the lateral G-forces to be so high that your car doesn't just fall into the gutter. Another factor that played into this was the ability to get just one wheel over the gutter whilst gripping. It was surprisingly hard, and I found that you needed to be oversteering or drifting if you wanted to do the inner wheel lift. When I started drifting, the inner wheel lift became so much easier. The weight of the car already being substantially pulled to the outside when drifting, as well as the ability to hang just one wheel over, helped a lot. And when I got it right, the effect of dropping one wheel over was actually crazy. It felt exactly like a cambered corner. If you've ever driven a cambered corner, which I assume most of you have, you'll know the exact feeling I'm talking about. Cambered corners, or corners that slope from the outside down to the inside, are some of the best out there. That's because the camber allows a higher top speed with the same amount of grip, and it basically makes a slingshot effect. A surprising revelation I made here is that the physics behind wheel lifting, negative camber and cambered corners is similar, if not the same. They all load more grip to the outside wheel. It's crazy, right? Anyway, yeah. So with the finding that inner wheel lifting is primarily a drifting technique, does this mean that you shouldn't use it at all? As we've discovered, inner wheel lifting allows you to carry a much higher speed through the corner, but we also have to sacrifice time through the entry and exit of the corner, losing and regaining grip. So let's directly compare a corner using a regular line and an inner wheel drift line. So the inner wheel lift is on the left and the regular corner is on the right. You can see we're starting from the exact same point and both cars are travelling at a similar speed. And as you can see, the inner wheel lift allows us to carry much more speed into the corner and throughout, because we know the gutter is basically going to lock us into the corner and not allow us to spin out. And going up to the finish line now, we can see inner wheel lift is actually edging ahead. Surprisingly, it's about 1.5 car lengths ahead of the late apex regular cornering. But something interesting I noticed is at the end of the run here, we can actually see that the usual drive-in is catching up quite a bit. So you can see how the inner wheel lift drift just allows us to carry so much speed through the corner and keep up that momentum. But when it comes to the corner exit, the regular cornering actually catches up, so they end up about the same by the end. Although I was drifting the entire way on the inner wheel lift run, so maybe if you gripped up on the exit of the corner and just stopped drifting, you would actually come out ahead. So that was all you could possibly need to know about the inner wheel lift. Up next, I'll be teaching you exactly how to do it. But first, make sure you let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this more in-depth and technical video. So the best method I found for inner wheel lifting is rather simple. Firstly, we approach the corner as usual, but when we turn into the corner, we actually trail brake to dip the nose towards the inside of the corner prematurely, whilst also kicking the rear end out. Once the nose of our car is pointed towards the apex, we step on the throttle, fully braking traction. Instead of drifting around the corner like we usually would, we actually need to drive towards the inside of the corner. But remember to keep drifting. If you straighten up, both of your wheels will end up in the gutter. We then want to get the front corner of our car as close to the inside as possible. It's at this point that you'll feel the weight lifted off of the car and the feedback through the wheel will be lessened. This means your inner wheel has been lifted. Then you should be able to fully step on the throttle and increase your speed. Finally, you'll be able to exit the corner by turning out of it or waiting for the gutter to end. And congratulations, you just did an inner wheel lift. If you did it correctly, there should be a very distinct change in the handling of the car. It should almost feel like you're driving too slowly. It's a hard one to explain, but I've done my best. If you found this video helpful in any way, don't forget to like, let me know what you're thinking in the comments, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.